Hello Art12 and welcome to your short hair video demonstration. So in the Google Classroom are those process notes for shading, which the first page looks like that in the Google Classroom. Okay, I think like the fourth page is hair. And so it talks about length and direction. It shows you how to do overlapping pieces, and it shows you some arrows for like guidelines. All right, so the first thing is to determine if you need to do your background first. So for this one, he doesn't have a lot of like detail contour outline happening for the background. I have a little negative space there. So I could actually do his hair first and then his background. But for something like, and this is the next one I'm gonna do, for hair like this, where you have a lot of like little pieces kind of overlapping the background, then you would want to do background first and then do the hair. So you'd want to watch the background video first and then hair. All right, so for short hair, length and direction is really important for all of it. And if you have darker hair, we're gonna do a layer with some 6B to kind of darken it right away. And I didn't erase my grid because his hair is fairly dark. The only thing is I do have this highlight area here, and then it's kind of a mid-tone over here. So I'm not gonna go super dark with the 6B, and I'm just gonna do like a layer. So you're not coloring. I'm just gonna I'm gonna kind of go over my guidelines just so I have it. And I'm kind of going in the direction as well. And I'm trying to do some shorter ones just to kind of start the process of the layering of the hair. So if you have facial hair, it's very similar to the eyebrows, or it will be similar to this side that I would do. If your facial hair is not really dark, I would not do this layer. Okay, so then I'm gonna go in this direction. Kind of trying to maintain some of my guidelines and value mapping. And if it's a really light area, go around it. So like the highlight here, I'm gonna totally just go around. Kind of getting that edge that I had on there. Kind of circular motion. Okay. So then with the larger blender, we're just gonna blend that out. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna grab my larger blender. I apologize. Okay. So again, you wanna kind of go in the direction that the hair is going, kind of liney, just to fill in the gaps. And I can still see my guidelines, and I am gonna just blend over my highlight for now. Trying to get all the white little gaps filled in. Okay, so then we're going to go off padding. So everything else happens off padding, because you want the texture of the hair to show. So this is very similar kind of layering process to the wood in the still life. Sorry, I'm sharpening my pencil real fast. My 6B pencil. Very similar to the wood, where you're paying attention to length and direction of line. Something for under my hand. And so I'm looking at where the darkest areas are first. And so in here, and I'm looking at how long his little hairs are. I haven't quite done his glasses yet because I wanted to refine them on this side after doing the hair. And those sideburns are a little bit longer. Okay, so looking at darker pieces, and then you can start overlapping the skin if you have darker hairs along the hairline. Okay, so those are my darkest places. So I'm gonna always add layers to those every time, maybe a couple different layers every time. Just let me go a little bit higher. Okay, all right, so over here, I'm gonna kind of hop around, and I want it to be, you know, going in the length and direction that his hair actually is, but I don't want to just like do rows of little hairs, because naturally your hand wants to like make little tally marks that line up. Your brain wants rhythm, and it wants to line things up and organize things, but hair is not like that. So you have to fight that urge to line it all up. So I kind of hop around, like I do some in one area, you know, kind of make it flow down, follow the direction, do some in another area. And so this is how you would do short hair. And if your hair is even shorter, then you would make like little tiny marks, layering them like so. So you just go shorter, smaller little marks. Okay, I'm trying to fill in the gaps and do a good layer. Then I'm doing another layer over my darkest parts. So the most important layer is the first layer. If you get a good first layer, it saves you a lot of time and effort. Okay, so with my larger blender, again, this is off padding, I'm just gonna blend over in the direction that the hair is going. And then I'm gonna switch to medium blender to get the edges. So I still feel like that needs to be darker. So I'm gonna do another layer before I start erasing out, because he does have some highlights on this side. So you wanna make sure you're matching the value as close as you can to your image. Okay, then I'm gonna do a whole nother layer. So I would say for dark hair, you probably need about 3 to 4 good layers. And if you have longer hair, well, if you have longer hair, you wouldn't be watching this. But if you wanted to draw longer hair, it's like 5 to 6 layers, but the 3 to 4 are the good layers. And I'm gonna try to get this to where I only have like one more layer to do after this. Trying to fade in his dark part here. Okay, so I'll be a little more precise. Okay, blend over again. Medium. Wait, sorry, I got a little bit there that I didn't need. I'm just gonna blend over the glasses because I'll do the glasses in the last layer anyway, or after the hair's done. Okay, so I feel like that's like ready to do some erasing out. So you can use mechanical pencil top eraser, or if you still have a good eraser to the old school wooden pencil, that would work. And so I'm just looking at where the highlights are, and I'm going to make those same kind of marks and motions with the edge of the eraser. So you want a sharp edge to your eraser. And so you're putting back in like layers. And so he has a little bit of a highlight over here. And same, you want it to not look so uniform. Okay, then your last layer is going to be a mechanical pencil, and you're going to try not to blend this layer. So you're going to make sure it's like a really good layer, and this is where the hair-like texture kind of comes in, because then it's the little baby strands of hair. And I'm looking at like the hairs along the edge. I feel like this could come down a little. I'm just going to do some overlapping. And I'm putting in my darks again, like doing a couple extra layers where my darkest values are. And if it looks too liney to you, you could do like a quick, gentle, I'm not pressing hardly at all, like once over. All right, for the longer hair, like up here, and so I would do this, I would do the same over here because that is about the same length. So for longer hair, definitely be looking at your picture. So I'm kind of looking at like, where does it change direction? Okay, so you have some longer pieces here, and then we have some like kind of shorter pieces on the other side of this long piece. And I am going up into the border. So you want to do like a sweeping kind of motion. And even though like they're longer pieces, I'm not going to just draw them long. I'm going to do layers of sweeping motion to build up the length. And I'm paying attention to direction. And so now I'm kind of under the first layer. A good first layer is the most important layer. Okay, so now as I'm building up my layers, I am going to go a little bit into the highlight because his highlight isn't super. That's about like the end of his hair actually. This must have been back when like a wave in the front was popular. I'm going to fill in with some shorter ones just to kind of build up the dark. So I'm just being a little more gentle where that highlight part is because we are going to have to erase it out. And we want to make it kind of easy to erase. All right, back in here, it kind of looks like it's like growing forward. It's a little bit longer than on this side, and I'm going to kind of tuck it into those pieces of hair. Doing a little scribbling because it looks a little messy back in there. And then here, I just make sure I'm like changing direction where it grows. All right, so I feel like I'm ready for a once over. Okay, then for highlights, like that shiny part, every time you would do a layer of erasing. So I'm going to kind of do some short sweeping motions along the edge. Kind of looking at how far down does the highlight come. I have a couple little highlights in there where it curves. There's like one area like just touching a little bit there, but for the most part it's just on that piece where it's flipped up. Okay, so every time I would do that. All right, another layer. So you really want to build up your layers. So I would do like one more like really good one, and then like we did the side, I'm going to end with mechanical pencil. So I'm going to go pretty fast, and I'm not being gentle. I'm kind of pressing hard. You want a hard surface when you do this. That way all the lines are retained. Kind of now starting to look at like his hairline a little bit more. I'm going to perfect that with mechanical, but paying a little closer attention to that part. Sorry, they are leaf blowing outside of my room, of course. I think they forget I'm here. I'm like one of the few teachers that are here. Okay, I'm gonna blend over that in the direction that it goes. I'm gonna blend over my highlight part as well. I'm going to erase out my highlight part again. There's a chunk that kind of comes down. A few little pieces there. Okay, so then with the mechanical, I'm going to go back and do a really good layer, but I'm going to do some shorter marks to kind of fill in, and then do some sweeping long ones. So I'm really kind of paying attention to what does the edge of the highlight look like? Do I have little chunks that kind of come up taller or wider than others? And then I would do like a couple into the highlight area. Because this hair is dark, it's not, you know, not as light as I have erased. So I would do that over the whole thing, and then you can take a look at it. You may or may not need to blend. All right, there's short hair for you.